from Llama Island, off the coast of Hong Kong Island, off the coast of Hong Kong. We are, of course, here today with the first of our DreamHack coverage. We are, following the tradition, kicking things off with the open qualifiers for the Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Japan, Mongolia region. I'm, of course, your host, Yaku of Yakuzaku, and with you today, el suetre de McDonald's que ya no moja la cama. Like, _ VIP. How we doing, like?
For those wondering what just happened, Yaku literally smacked his mic and knocked it over in the intro. This is not gonna go well. But yes, we are here, we are back with DreamHack qualifiers for winter, the final season of DreamHack here this year. Of course, there's DreamHack Last Chance for Mate. That's a weekend tournament. No one cares about that, right?
Well, the players who barely don't have enough EPT points probably care.
There are some players who do. But here we are in the final season, and mate, we have our first series.
That we do. Kicking things off here on Light Shade LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, swung all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the red Zerg player, one of the very few left, actually, in the Taiwan region, at least in this sort of tier. He is apparently going to be representing Africa TV Taiwan. He is Cell.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the Taiwanese Terran player representing himself, question mark. I'm not too sure it's the first time we are casting this player here. It is, KnockKnock. I see what's happening here.
I too had to take a double take there and
yeah.
be like, oh, we're gonna get banned? Please don't tell me we're gonna...
I did a zoom in and then I noticed it. I was like, oh no.
We might not want to zoom into that yet. But what can we say? You know, Haas, his influence is great in that Taiwan
Is
region.
it great?
Well, it's immense. I'm not sure. Yeah, great implies a certain quality, I guess.
It's true.
He's got a lot of influence. Is it positive or is it negative?
We're about to find out here. Is the power of the waifu going to be enough here for KnockKnock to make something happen against a more established player? You know, Cell, we've casted him season after season. Plenty of times he's one of the favorites to at least make it to the closed qualifier.
Yeah, I always look at Cell as one of those sort of up and down players, right? I guess you could kind of call him a sort of mid-tier player from the region, but he's just not as consistent as somebody like, say, Gogo Joey or even Lemon.
Exactly. So this is it. This is going to be his last season to really pop off and make something happen in his own region. Meanwhile, it's also an opportunity for an up-and-comer like KnockKnock, someone who I don't even recall seeing him in the previous season qualifier brackets, let alone casting him. So yeah, we'll see if he can make something of himself here.
He is going to be the one who knocks.
Let's go.
Already with a ton of Marines, going for a bit of a 2-on-1 that I think Maru has sort of repopularized in very recent days, and I do mean days.
Yeah, we have seen a resurgence of the 2-on-1 these past couple of months, and as you said a couple of days ago, like, we saw a lot of success with it, right? So yeah, making a bit of a comeback. Obviously, there are pros and cons to it, right? And quickly checking the vision, Cell actually hasn't seen the main base at all.
Oh. But I think he's seen the amount of Marines that KnockKnock has, so that's a little bit of a tell. He's making a ton of Zerglings, which is exactly what you want to defend against a 2-on-1. Not necessarily shut it down, but it'll allow you to live long enough to get to your mid-game.
Exactly. Like, you have to be careful not to be too greedy. You can't drone up too much. You need an army, not just queens to defend. Speaking of an army, the Lings do counterattack, and in the middle of the drop moving out, he was forced to come back home.
Yeah, so already if Cell wasn't aware of what's going on, he is now. It looks like one of the SCVs that was building the CC also got cut out, so not the biggest of deals here for KnockKnock, but just a little bit of value here for Cell. He's buying himself so much time.
Yeah, that he is. Now the job is headed across the map, and because so much time has passed, like now there are queens to defend, now there are lings, we have a Baneling nest, so Banelings could be morphed in. They're not at the moment, but yeah, there should be enough here so this job doesn't get out of control.
Yeah. See if Cell has the units in position, though. That could be a little bit that KnockKnock can do. See how well his hot pickup and splitting is.
Oh boy. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on things. And so far, like, I do appreciate that KnockKnock hasn't committed to anything. He didn't, like, push in or do anything crazy at the moment. He's just chilling, waiting for reinforcements. It is a bit of a shame that his third base has been delayed a little bit because of all the run-bys. But at least finally Cell has kind of backed up.
For now, he's opening up a ton of attack points. He's already gotten to that mid-game phase that, you know, all Zerg players sort of want to be against a Biochain player like this. He's pretty comfortable on drones, at least for now. All he has to worry about is surviving the drops.
Oh boy, exactly. And so far, so good for both players, right? We haven't seen any major Baneling connections. The Queen, so far, the transfuses have been on point. KnockKnock just kind of testing the waters here. Again, going to be relying a lot on this one Widowmine.
Look, one Widowmine can do a lot if it gets right in the middle of a ton of Banelings. Then again, one Widowmine can also do a lot to get a ton of friendly fire, so
yeah,
bit of a double-edged sword there.
There's a lot of pressure on this one Widowmine. Feels bad, man.
The weight of everything is on his shoulders. Yeah, it's like, if you don't get the perfect connection, all of your friends are gonna die.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, man.
Yeah,
I would not want to be in that Widowmine's shoes right now.
It's a little bit odd that we did have like a single Widowmine, and then we see a switch into tanks, right? We have a first tank, we still have a tech lab on the factory, so yeah, kind of an interesting.
Safety mine?
Yeah.
If you get that first before anything else, it's yeah, not something you typically see Terran players do, especially when they wall off their natural base.
Yeah, yeah. Oh boy, we'll see if it, yeah, we'll see if it pays off so far. Nice target fire.
Yeah, no Baneling connections here. Only a single Marine going down, and that was to Zerglings. That's a really good Baneling connection, though. And the drop has been shut down.
That it has, with the main push is now pushing on forward. There's still plenty of Ling Bane here, but now the tanks have joined the fray as well. He has to be careful that the tanks don't body block him from running back up the ramp, so that can always be a little bit dicey. So far, so good, but at the same time, there was a Baneling run by. We have more mines!
I love this. He's waiting for KnockKnock to saturate that base.
Oh no.
That will get very easily cleaned up though if there's ever a missile turret.
It really will. Meanwhile, some more decent target fire, but also some of the Banelings did get some connections there. It's really risky how KnockKnock is doing this. He's really relying a lot more on targeting, less so on splits.
Yeah, his tanks are also really far in the back.
No,
I kind of get a rush. Oh, the mules! And you know what? The run-by is going to distract KnockKnock even further. Oh, that's actually a pretty good use of SimCity. Drawing them back. The tanks getting the damage that they need. Widowmine actually fired. Huh.
Yeah, it did go off on a couple of the Ling Bane. It looks like those barred Banelings finally went off. Nothing major though, only 4 SCVs, and I guess those 2 mules as well, so at least some damage was done. But now KnockKnock, he doesn't have to worry about defending at home. Now he can focus everything on the attack.
That he can, and I feel like he kind of needs to. These tanks are being a pretty decent backline, but they're not really pressuring anything, right? They're not really in range of much. Meanwhile, pretty big run-by coming in here. We spoke a little too soon. I, too, thought that KnockKnock cleaned up the harass, but Cell, he had other ideas.
Yeah, exactly. KnockKnock, that base is so low. 11 more SCVs do go down. He has to make something happen with this push, not just because of the SCV damage, but also his CC itself is incredibly low.
Yeah, it's about to burn down as... That's also the freshest base of KnockKnock. Stuck on 3, now 2 bases. Yeah. Less than 2 bases because of how mined out the minerals are. Cell just got himself a 5th base.
Exactly, and 0 economic damage has been done to Cell. Like, this push, he's only been trading army this entire time for the past 5 minutes. He needs to get into a mineral line. He needs to kill at least a base.
Which he may be able to do, but is it going to be enough? Massive surround on top of those Marines. Hot pickup right at the end, but that just leaves the tank so exposed. Really good target firing on the tanks, cleaning out whatever Banelings he can, but it's still not going to be enough. Cell didn't even lose that base. He's on 73 workers. He can make nothing but Ling Bane and still find a way to victory.
Yeah, no, he's being so annoying on top of this. Like, after winning this fight, he borrows Lings underneath the CC. It can't even land.
Mate.
Yeah. Finally, we do see a scan. Finally, these Marines will be able to clean up all of these Lings. But, oh my god, KnockKnock is just in such a rough position here. His economy is in shambles. And as you were saying, Cell, he's on 5 bases. I'm also honestly so surprised as well that this hatchery survived. Like, it's crazy.
Transfuse!
Oh, god.
Another mess run by being set up by Cell. He just is relentless with this.
Yeah, that he is. Unfortunately, there's just never been any defenses here. There's never been some bunkers, some tanks, some widow mines, any kind of reinforcing marines. Like, this base has just been perpetually exposed, and Cell just keeps just capitalizing on that.
Yeah, there's been some pretty decent SimCity with the supply depots, but as you said, there were never any reinforcements to really take advantage of that. Except for maybe once. KnockKnock tried to go for some multi-prong, and it's working out decently well for him. I mean, he's distracting the army towards the south, and should be able to get some workers here to north. But so will KnockKnock.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like this base of of Cell may go down, but no, the Ling Bane, it does connect!
Oh, man. That's a double-edged sword of multi-pronging, isn't it? You just have way too much to focus on, and there's eventually going to be one front that you have to take losses in.
Exactly, and he just keeps going for the same move over and over again. Meanwhile, that drop across the map did kill a hatchery, but it wasn't enough. GG gets called, and Cell takes the first game.
Wow.
Wow.
What a fashion he did it, too. Looks like he never really went for any major pushes or timings. He just bullied KnockKnock into submission.
Oh god, he really did. He really did. So I'm just trying to... Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it was a really nice opening, I felt, from KnockKnock to 2-1-1. There was a lot of potential there, especially when he came in with his follow-up push. But it did feel like he was tunnel visioning a little bit too much in that, you know, in between the 3rd and the 4th base location.
Yeah, he really was. It's just such a shame that nothing happened there, right? Like, the push was prevalent, and he was continuing to reinforce, and it was never dealt with. But at the same time, again, he never got any drone kills. He never got a hatchery kill. Like, he was just chilling outside the base, not really doing much with his army. Like, because he couldn't, because they were just constant run-bys, right?
So
like,
much, yeah, exactly. And to make a choice at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe like 1 bunker or 2, along with those supply depots. I mean, you know, KnockKnock does want to play aggressive, but you got to make sure that there's something that covers your blind spots. But regardless, that was game number 1. We are moving into game number 2 here on Oxide LE. On the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner map, we have the red Zerg player currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. He is apparently going to be representing Africa TV Taiwan. He is one and all Cell.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Taiwanese Terran player representing all the otakus. Otakus? I don't even know.
Otaku! Amigo!
Let's... Oh my god. Oh my god. All over the world, it is KnockKnock. Does anyone... Can the chat help us out here? Can anyone let us know what anime this is from?
Yeah. And ask him. He probably know.
Phone up pause, phone up probe, you know. Uwu thermal.
Ooh, thermal, yeah. Except Ooh, thermal and probe will probably like pretend not to know.
They know though.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh god. Alright, well, again, we'll see how KnockKnock can approach this series. I was really impressed with like the way he was able to target fire, not just with his marines, but also with his tanks, in a lot of the engagements.
Yeah, unfortunately, the control was great, it wasn't necessarily the best time to go for target firing, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe better to just, pull back, split, allow the tanks to do what, tanks are meant to do. I feel like that was another thing, right? Where for the longest time, he just kept his tanks in the back line, not really applying much pressure into anything or pushing any of Cell's units back. When the Ling Bane was getting closer, he was doing a really good job of control clicking his tanks and taking out the Banelings one volley, but he just needed to do that a little bit more consistently.
Yeah, definitely. It could be a thing where maybe it's nerves, right? Like, I don't know if this is the first time KnockKnock has been casted before and he's on stream. On top of that, going up against a pro player like Cell as well. So I'm sure a lot of that does factor in as well. Guess what I have to say is that, I was relatively impressed with what KnockKnock had, so I want to see some more, Hopefully he can kind of like shake the rust off and get into it,
And get into it he shall. Not going for the 2-on-1 this time. Up at 1-on-1, Hellions should be on the way pretty soon. Oh, that's some nice KD8 control.
The mine saved his life, mate. He just barely got out.
I thought for sure those Zerglings were going to jump down the ramp with him, but no. Apparently, I think units can only be flung up a ramp and not down. Unless.
Yeah, I'm
really not sure. We need somebody to test that out.
They can't be knocked down. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Would they take fall damage? They did.
These are ideas for the next RTS, mate. Fall damage. What?
Cross Giant, if you're listening.
That would be insane. Imagine. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Imagine if Phoenixes, when they lifted units up, when they dropped them, they took damage. That would be insane.
Imagine if Fungal, instead of slowing down flying units, it just disabled their ability to fly, so they crash into the ground.
Well, that would be like Warcraft 3. I don't know if you played Warcraft.
The choppers.
Yeah, the arachnids, the spiders, they had like a web ability, and they would lock down units in the air so that ground units could attack them. Yeah.
But that's not the same as crashing, though.
You're like, but they need to take damage. They need to take damage.
There needs to be a fiery explosion. It's basically like a reverse Phoenix. Instead of lifting up to shoot up, you throw down to shoot.
You throw down. There you go. To go down.
You throw down. Exactly. Banshees are gonna be the follow-up here from KnockKnock.
It's like, moving on. No, you know what? I like those ideas, for the next RTS Kappa, or something. I don't know. Maybe it's too much. Maybe a little bit too much. But yeah, it's always great to have too much instead of too little. Oh god. Sometimes. Meanwhile,
that's my ammo.
Yeah, we do have that 1-1-1 opening, as you were saying. Pretty interesting that he's not going out with his first Banshee. He's waiting, saving up for a second one.
Yeah, wants to be able to one-shot these drones as he moves them out. Double eBay follow-up for this. KnockKnock, a very aggressive player.
Yeah,
gleaming in these two games.
Exactly. I mean, what I appreciate is his versatility, right? He's going for a completely different style this game. Because it's a 1-1-1, now he has a much larger presence in the early game with these Hellions. He can keep this, or at least attempt to keep this creep in check for his follow-up push. Sure, that does mean that he doesn't have the power to like really push forward with his Marines, but again, he can apply some pressure with these Hellions.
Yeah. The Queen's busy. He's making sure that Cell, isn't comfortable. Best case scenario, he misses a macro cycle or two.
Exactly.
Cell, I mean.
Yeah, meanwhile, Cell is also doing very interesting things. Once again, he is going for that borrow play. We saw him utilize that to great effect in the previous game. Also, he's just been slowly macroing up, being pretty greedy with double Evo chambers, not quite using them to full effect, as we do see a bit of an unstable timing here with his upgrades, but he is prioritizing Inspire.
That he is. I love it. Talk a little bit about KnockKnock's versatility. Cell, I'm not sure if you necessarily want to call it versatility, but maybe adaptability. That's what you might want to call it. The Ling Bane worked extremely well for him last game, once he was able to go out of control with them, right? Just throw in a couple of Mutalisks earlier on, and he should be able to gain map control much quicker compared to game one.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, again, going into mutas really quickly against a 2-on-1 can be really risky because Marines can get out of control. But here he can. Meanwhile, oh my god, the wraparound with the Lings!
Everything is blocked off. Didn't even need to use his Banelings for that.
Ow. Just wow, that was beautifully done there by Cell, finally dealing with all those Hellions, and unfortunately that means that now KnockKnock cannot deny or delay this creep spread. Also, he won't have those Hellions to, I don't know, maybe later on morph into Hellbats and help support his Marine tank push.
Yeah, it's unfortunate losing them this early, but we have gotten to the point where KnockKnock has a pretty stable economy, has some pretty stable production. He can clear up creep using drops instead of those Hellions. So he still has some presence on the map.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these Banshees are still alive. You know, they were able to kill a Queen earlier, clearing up some creep. They do scout the mutas as well, so now we immediately see turrets in production. So these Banshees, they have done a lot. They may not have gotten drone kills, but they've gotten value elsewhere.
Yeah, clearing up creep. I think one of them may have killed a Queen, but I'm not 100% certain on that. They are sniping Banelings.
Oh my god.
You'll love to see it.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Muta's not quite in position to help deal with the Banshees. Only one of them here. The Lings do get a pretty nice wraparound, but the stutter stepping and the kiting is pretty good for KnockKnock. Is it going to be enough? We'll find out.
Yeah, so far so good. That was a great engagement there by KnockKnock. Meanwhile, the mutas are trying to do some damage across the map, but they didn't get into a mineral line. Again, the missile turrets were done. There were even reinforcements to help push the mutas away.
Not being built, no. And I do like the bunker here from KnockKnock. I mean, we were talking about it in the last game, right? The Sim City has been really good. KnockKnock was forcing a bunch of choke points, but nothing to really take advantage of that. Get a bunker in and kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, we were talking about it before, right? This will definitely help when it comes to the run bys that he was really struggling against in game number 1. Meanwhile, these mutas are actually dealing a devastating amount of damage. Like, oh god, there's a bit of a supply block as well. There we go, finally he's out of it, but the mutas were able to deal some damage when it came to the production. Meanwhile, here comes the push, but the mutas, they are coming back home.
Yeah, KnockKnock was undeterred by the mutas. He wanted to deal with them using his reinforcements. The rest of his push
he's surrounded,
is coming for it, but to be honest, he is surrounded.
Like, yeah, this is as deep into creep as you can get. Like, I don't know if this is where you want to be, mate. Oh god.
If I was Cell right now, I would be heaving a sigh of relief because it's very deep into creep. It's this one area that doesn't have creep spread, and it's setting... He basically set himself up to get surrounded. GG is called. Cell takes game number 2 and takes that full series, jumping not quite to the qualifier match, I don't think, but pretty close. Well played, and really nice to see KnockKnock here, I would say. A bit of a new appearance, at least for us in the CranKy Ducklings.
Yeah, it was great to see him here. You know, it's always rough going up against a player like Cell, you know, an established pro player. Hope he's not feeling too deterred. I do really enjoy how he did play out that game. Was just a questionable push, right? Like, typically when you move out, like, you slowly clear creep and, like, establish a foothold, you know? He just went... like, balls deep, mate. And sure, he found a patch without any creep, but he was literally in the middle of enemy territory. Like, that was not a good place to be.
It's almost like a trap there from Cell. It's like, I'm going to leave this one patch without any creep. It also happens to be a patch where I can very easily surround my opponent.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure it was unintentional. I mean, you don't normally spread that far since, you know, you're going to get the third base up. Or, I guess in this case, it wasn't a third base, but you're going to get a base there that will provide that creep. But still. I'm liking the aggression from KnockKnock, but I do feel like it's one of those... It's one of those Terran things, right? Where if you want to play aggressive, there is a risk of getting tunnel visioned pretty easily. And that kind of does feel like his biggest downfall, at least in this series.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, GG. Congratulations to Cell for moving on. What we can say is that there will be a second open qualifier for Taiwan, Hong Kong. So hopefully we see more of KnockKnock there. I was just double checking, and unfortunately for this qualifier, there is no double elimination bracket. So once you're out, you are out.